taking the world to the Caribbean.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One Mountain Kia full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The one by one Kia products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today. The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson firm can be reached at 470-499-4704.
Greetings, and thank you all for being here today for the I Am Meta Show. It's all about health and wellness, spirit, mind, and body. I am Zephyr, the Medicure Data, and Malika, a breath of fresh air. We're going to adjust our screen. And we do have a guest today, our beautiful goddess sister, Vilma Samuels. And she is a intervention life coach, and she will be speaking on our topic today along with us. And possibly some of you out there may need to hear a message or two on routes that you can take to achieve your healing process, or just to make it easier for you if you are dealing with loss or trauma and having to cope with something or heal. So first, I would like to say, all the viewers, whether you are on audio just listening, or if you're viewing us, um, if you're viewing us, you can just, continue to tune in every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, and that's 3 p.m. Pacific for our West Coast crew, right? So thank you all again for being here. And to the Powerhouse Radio, Lady D, big up yourself. Thank you for the opportunity. We're going to go ahead and align our cameras because our screen shifts. So you give us a moment and we're going to get aligned here. I think mine's is probably there. So, and we're going to wait on our goddess sister Vilma. Go ahead and align her little camera. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, so today's topic, as we know, is coping and healing after trauma and loss. Sometimes it's easier for some people than than it would be for others. I think it doesn't even really depend on the impact of whatever the situation is. It just the way it impacted the person is what they're walking away with. That's what they're going to walk away with. There are things that some of us can just walk away and brush the dust off the shoulder, and some people can't really cope with it like in that easy way, especially if they feel they've invested time into something. It could be a job. You give them 30 years of your time, your energy. You felt like you were a necessity. You never one day after 30 years knew, figured that you were going to get a pink slip in the mail, not even a respect to wait till you get to the office. And sometimes it becomes a loss because that's someone's financial stability. So now they're stressed and concerned about how they're going to manage, especially at that point if they have children in college and some still in regular, school, not even college yet, things of that nature. So a lot of times people do have loss. We have elders or just family members or dear friends that transition. It may not even be someone we know personally, but just the fact of something happening and just hearing the story, sometimes it impacts us in a very complex way. It's sometimes you feel it, especially, and I don't always just mean to point out women, but because we have these maternal instinct, we kind of empathize in a way where it's so emotional for us. If someone is dealing with something, we actually, if we're seeing them in this situation the way they're feeling, we can feel it. We can feel it. So it really just doesn't affect one person. It affects an entire whoever's connected with each and every one in that arena. They could be a loss of life, a loss of use of limbs, anything, anything. It could be all kind of trauma, and whether the person was sick, whether it was a demise, whether it was an unfortunate situation, still someone is dealing with that trauma. And most of the time, it's not just one person that's dealing with it. So if we have a whole circle that's hurting, someone have to be the one to say, hey, let us seek some type of intervention or someone who can really come in. Some people say counseling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the type of counseling and therapy where it's very authentic and very Afrocentric. I love the therapy of meditation and those things that our ancestors taught, and how to deal with crisis. A lot of catastrophes are happening all over the world, and we feel it. If we view it and we have any kind of humanity in us, we will feel it. We will feel the suffering of others, the oppression of others. We will feel the loss of others, especially if it's someone that we knew personally, close to us, and etc. Or just sitting there and hearing about the loss of a 3-year-old in a dumpster out there in Michigan, I believe, somewhere. I mean, just it just breaks us all down emotionally because we feel it. And how are we going to cope with these things? Not because it's indirect means we don't it don't affect us. And when we have a whole lot of that affecting us, plus you have your personal stuff affecting you, it becomes very cumbersome. So there have to be a measure of how we're going to deal with it, right? How we're going to deal with it. So our guest today is Vilma Samuels, intervention life coach, and this is what she does. And she's going to kind of touch on this for us a little about, the different types of traumas that may occur and how some coping skills, things that we can actually turn to as some kind of guide to help us in the process. And then we're going to go down here to a breath of fresh air. Yes, we will. Mic check, mic check.
While she's getting her mic situated,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So
I just
go
want
right
to
ahead,
share something.
sis.
Very interested. I'm very interested in hearing what Coach Vilma has to share with us about um, tools to use when there's grief and loss, and especially when there's the aftermath of trauma. So I'm really anticipating to know so that I can also share with my own people
Yeah.
what we can do, what they can do. So
Yes.
you're still on mute.
Okay. Yeah, if you look right below your screen there, and you're gonna click the thing that says mute, and it'll unmute your mic because you can see it on your name on the screen. Right below the panel that you're looking at with the three of us, there should be a little click on the one that says mute. That's your mic. Or check the computer to see if yeah.
Okay.
Yay!
Yes. Yay! Thank you for being here, Vilma.
Oh, you muted yourself again.
Yeah, you're going to have to unmute again. It's muted again. There
Okay.
you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I forgot that I'm using an external mic. So usually I just talk, through my computer, and then I had that fixed. I know I'm using an external mic. I totally forgot about it. But it's a pleasure to be here, Z and Malika. It's nice meeting you. And I'm so happy to see you guys. You look beautiful.
Thank you. You're the same,
But
big sis.
I'm not hearing you.
Can
you
you hear me?
us? Oh,
You can't hear us? You can't hear us? Okay, well, we can hear you. So go ahead. Everyone can hear you. All of the viewers can hear you. If you have to unmute again, because you're muted again. So you can go ahead and speak, and we'll try to figure out what's going on over there. You have to come off of mute.
Hearing me now?
Yes.
But I can't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think
okay.
It's probably,
so,
do you have headphones?
Oh, you
because
right.
you have something connected, right? So you're going to have your headphones and your mic. So yeah, so Malika, as you were saying,
yes,
I'm also interested in hearing a few things, and I think more to the end we're going to share some of those pillars that Jessica Wise Woman shared last week.
Yes, well,
I think it's
awesome.
a good.
That'll be a great review. Looking forward to that. Yeah,
the pillars. So we're going to be able to do that, and I started one of them. I grabbed immediately. Radical courage.
Okay, yes.
Because in order to deal with anything, even yourself, some things that you don't even want to face, but it takes that courage for you to just get past that and, get past that and face it. It takes that courage to get up and brush off all the weight to say, you know what, I'm not going to sit here anymore and take this.
Right.
Okay. She still can't hear us. All right. You can pull it up. You can pull it up on your phone. Pull it up on your phone on YouTube and listen to it that way, but probably mute the phone.
Okay, now you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you. So
well, you go
I'm
ahead
not
and
really
speak.
hearing what you're saying.
Okay.
All right. So I'm just gonna flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're talking about grief. Okay. And it's a very personal topic to me because I'd gone through some serious grief just about 2 years ago with the loss of my son. And let me tell you, grief sucks all the energy out of you. And it's one of those things where you can't put a time on as to how soon you can stop grieving or how you're supposed to grieve. And the sad thing about this is that other people expect you to have a timeline on your grieving, as well as they expect you to grieve a certain way, you know? And I've had some of that kind of problem, which broke relationships up because people look at me and say, well, isn't it time for you to stop grieving? Or isn't it time that you stop crying? Or why you have to, as a matter of fact, while grieving, I was very self-conscious. Can you believe that? Okay. I'm being self-conscious not to hollow out and fall apart and so I try to keep myself intact, but I still had to go through the grieving process. Now that intact behavior that I was exhibiting was just a part of my brought up see, where a lady's not supposed to behave certain ways and you're not supposed to do this and you're not supposed to do that. So even though I am unconsciously grieving, I'm consciously trying to behave a certain way. You understand? Now, I'm not sure if that made the process any harder, but all I know is that my grieving process took everything out of me. All my energy, all my thinking, all my processing, everything that I could give. I had nothing to give to anyone during that time. But at the same time, being a mother and my other kids are grieving too, I try to be strong for them. Now, you know how hard that process was. Here I am falling apart, but at the same time, trying to be strong. So I think that took a different toll on me. Now, during anyone's grieving process, you stay in a constant state of fight or flight. So you are constantly in tense motion. You are constantly, just not dealing with anything else that's around you. My fight or flight response was so activated, so up here that I was breathing from the top of my chest. I was not able to take a deep breath. And what I realized I had to do, I could not go to counseling because I'm metaphysics. And what you're telling me is not aligning with what I'm feeling. So I had to turn to my other coaches. And they were the ones, and not all the other coaches either, because not all coaches are metaphysics, and not all coaches are spiritual. So fortunately for me, I had some people that were in alignment with me. Now, there was one lady out of the blue. I'd gone to a keiko ceremony with her, and that's like some chocolate, thick chocolate thing. And she had a keiko ceremony where we bring in the ancestors. And that was like 3 months before my incident. And about 3 months later, I noticed I was not going anywhere. I was still in that state of just down, sadness, crying, can't breathe, chest pain, tightness, the whole thing. And I opened my email one day and she just said, "Hi, how are you?" Now, this lady is a shaman. She's a Reiki specialist, so she do all this stuff. And she said, "How are you?" I said, "Not good." And she said, "What's going on?" And I just gave her a little inch. So I said, "I lost my son." And she said, "Oh my God, I want you to come for a session. I'm gifting you a session." No, this lady's session, is like 1 hour session and so. And I went to her, we made the time and I went to her and she Of course, she saged me down because she said my spirit was so heavy.
Be
She
heavy.
couldn't let me come in. And she started working on me. And I could not. She had to work on my upper chest for almost an hour. This lady gave me a 2-hour session
Yes.
because
Wow.
I could not breathe. And she told me that if I don't breathe, I'm gonna die. Because my whole I was not passing oxygen through my body.
Right.
That's how raw grieving is.
Yes.
And when I was able to take a deep breath, that's when she said, you can go. So she had me there for almost 2 hours. And when I took that first deep breath, that's when I started the road to healing.
Yes.
Right? Now, it didn't end there because I had to get into my meditation. I had to start doing my writing. I would get up in the morning, and first of all, you have triggers. Anyone who has a grieving situation going on, there are triggers, and triggers are gonna pop on you at any given time. Mine was going to the bathroom in the morning because that's when I got the news. So every time I go in to sit on my commode, that thing, I was just flooded with grief. And that would last for about an hour. Now, nobody knew I was going through this because I didn't tell people. No, that's the next thing. I'm private and I'm trying to be private with what I'm going through. So, it's kind of lingers the grieving process, right? So if I can give anybody any advice, is talk. Talk about what you're going through because it helps. Tell people. The thing about it is you think that people don't want to hear, but they will help you. Thanks for my support system. You need that. You need support system. Without support system, you are going to go down that rabbit hole. So you need a strong support system. And if there's not a direct support system around you, find one. Because I had a community. I had people like my girl Z here who, constantly checked on me and all that. But some people don't have that,
Yeah.
So it give yourself permission to grieve, but also give yourself permission to find help, to seek help.
Yeah.
Because if not, you are going to be a basket case. And that goes with any kind of grieving. Like you said, Z, that, it could be the loss of a job, could be the loss of a spouse. It could also be that he left you for somebody else.
Somebody else. So all them kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
a serious grieving process there. That's
So
where you
enough
say
for
you have a
one.
broken heart.
Yeah,
No,
enough for one
years
and
ago, I
one.
used to hear people talk about a broken heart. And I used to think that, oh, nothing goes like that. Trust me, a heart can be broken and it can take you out too, So,
That emotional
you
burden.
are with this man and you give him everything you have. And then
Yeah.
you find somebody, especially if the person is younger, that can do a thing to you, a thing or two.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow,
So that's
wow.
some serious grieving that goes on right there, So I'm telling you, it's the same thing. Find a support system. Here it is that if you have a guy that just walk out on you like that somebody else, you gotta find a support system, or you're gonna go find a woman and kill her, or do something crazy.
Some crazy. Yeah.
So when you have a support system, then they can at least say, no, that don't make any sense, and this is this and that. And then you have to start kind of going out and see that, just start to have a will to live.
Yeah. Have some
Because
fun.
I had to find my will to live, and my other kids was one of that. But then sometimes you feel like you don't give a hell. What if I leave them? They'll be okay, So you start to kind of get withdrawn. Don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to talk to anybody. I see the phone ringing, I don't answer it because I don't want to hear from nobody. But you gotta lift yourself up every single day, put one foot in front of the other, and say, I want to live. This is what this person would want me to do. And for the love of that person, you say, okay, I'm gonna live. Now, if it's a spouse or a boyfriend that leave you, then you gotta show them that you're gonna do better than you were doing. So use that as your motivation to move on. Say, look, I'm not going to let you make me look worse than you left me. I'm going to be better. So you use that as your motivation. But if it's a loss of someone transition, then you're going to say, okay, this person would want me to live. So I'm going to do everything I can to start living.
Yeah.
But,
Living,
a
yes.
lot of people don't believe in meditation or don't know anything about meditation. But that could be one of the most powerful tools that you can use to get you through a grieving process.
Yes.
And that's what started helping me, meditation.
Okay.
Now, I you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yeah.
So
I'm
because of
sending
that,
you a
I can't
message.
hear any questions
You
that you'd
know,
like to ask.
yeah.
So I
I'm
don't know
sending you a
what's going on. I'm
message.
not technical savvy, but
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from here. So
I'm sending you a message. So read your text message. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just let you know all what's going on at the Powerhouse Radio. And when we come forward, we're going to be speaking with Malika, a breath of fresh air, right? So thank you once again for being at the Powerhouse Radio. Okay. And just so I can let you know, there's so many shows on, and guess what? They're building up. There are going to be more and more shows because this thing I get broad, it'll get wide, it'll get deep, All right. So on Wednesday on the Powerhouse Radio, that's DA Powerhouse Radio.com is the online. You can get that 24/7. You can listen to music when shows not on. Everything is on there. So on specific days and times, there are certain shows that's on there. So let me break them down for you. Let's Gripe is on Wednesdays from 7 to 8. We have Thursdays, The Kids Way, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's Gripe is 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, okay? Also on Thursday, we have Reasoning Thursdays from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Saturday, a.m., if you wanted them early bird, they have Gospel Explosion with Brother Blair, and that is from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, from 12 to 4, your own lovely and truly fabuloso Lady D is there from 12 to 4. And she's not on YouTube. She's on her station. That's the powerhouseradio.com. Stream it in. Listen to it. You're rocking your groove. I guarantee that. Also, what comes to YouTube is Let's Gripe, the Kids Way, Reasoning Thursdays. Anything with the music on the Saturdays, you can catch it online, all right? And on Sundays, yours truly's, us dearies, you have the Medicure daughter and you have Malika Breath of Fresh Air every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, 3 p.m. Pacific, okay? So guess what? Subscribe, give me a like, a comment, a share if you think the information is something that can help you or help someone else. All right. So
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
all right. There we go now. So what we're going to do, we're going to get with you now, Malika, a breath of fresh air. And she's just like that too. Literally. She's always coming so fresh, so blossomy. So let us hear from you, Malika, especially on what Vilma may have to say. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just wanted to do a really quick recap on some of the tools that Sister Vilma shared with us. So for coping after grief and loss. So being able to breathe deeply, finding a support system, giving yourself permission to grieve. That's really important. Giving yourself permission to find help, and meditation. Now,
Yep.
for me, so the grieving in our society, I notice like many of the things she said is very true. And
Yep.
so um we really have to look at grieving differently. We really have to look at it as a natural part of life, and being able to incorporate it into our life rather than, oh,
We may have an echo.
okay.
Let me see. I'll mute mine. Let me see if it's probably over here.
Okay. I don't have anything else open. I only have open our station. Okay. So what I want to say is that it's really important for us as a society, families, communities, to change the way that we see grieving. 'Cause as Coach Vilma pointed out, she was pressured to end her grieving, or and even to grieve in a certain way based on how she was raised and just societal pressures. And for me, grieving, I honestly am not even sure, because she said it can look different for everybody. So I'm really interested in this topic because I'm not really sure how have I grieved? Have I grieved in different times in my life? And it makes me wonder, um do we even know when we're in grieving? Do people realize when they're going through grieving? What does it feel like? And when she started to talk about how she was breathing from the top of her chest, that really stood out to me, because something I know about a lot of people in Western cultures, especially American society, people are disconnected from their body. They're not aware of, I would say most people, or a lot of people, are not aware of how their body feels, what's going on, what are the things their body is saying to them. And something that is really important that I am going to be speaking to people about is really getting in tune and in touch with your body in a way that when it's communicating with you. It's so important. So with the grieving, it's really important because then you can tell when you've released something. You can feel when you're holding on to something. You can feel when things shift and when things change. You can feel when things become lighter. And so I really appreciate Vilma sharing the things that she shared about grieving and about the tools and resources we can use. And when she said meditation, I'm like, okay, she's really talking my language there. And it's very, very important, though, that we embrace each other during our grieving, because perhaps our grieving can be. Now, I noticed as I was thinking about this, I noticed that I started to think of our typical societal pressures. Like, I was getting ready to say maybe our grieving can be shorter. But to me, that shows that our societal parameters around grieving, like, it's in me too, right? And so even though I haven't said to anyone, are you done grieving yet, or anything like that, it lets me know that in my mind, I'm somewhere, I think grieving should be short or whatever. But I think that if we are just more open as a society to each other grieving, to seeing each other's raw emotions that aren't always joy and love, because we always want to see each other happy. And it's uncomfortable when you see someone in their sadness or in their grief. Okay. Which brings me to a story that I just remembered. So a number of years back, maybe 15 years back, I had a friend, and she was seeing a guy, and their relationship was over. She realized that it was over. I He was just they were not a great match. I have more knowledge now. Back then, I would have said he was a terrible guy. Now I have more knowledge and I understand they just were not compatible, and neither one of them were willing to look at the look at the relationship and look at their interactions and see that they just weren't compatible for each other. So I have more, like, there are some people who are just maybe quote terrible people who intentionally inflict harm upon other people. But I'm realizing that more so what happens is people want to create something with someone, and they don't recognize that it's just not going to work, or they push past the signs that show it's not going to work. So anyway, I think that was her situation. So then when it finally came about that she recognized, okay, this is not going to work, the relationship has to be over, she grieved. So she she's my friend now. She's my best friend. And I was at her house. She got out the shower. She sat on the bed and I was in the living room and I heard her crying. I went into her room to see what was wrong. And she was crying and just like, it's over and all this stuff. And I was frozen because I didn't know what to do. I stood in the doorway stunned because now I said to myself, Malik, it's only you and her. Where are you? You just going to stand there and watch her crying? Like she was like distraught. So I sat down next to her and then she like leaned on me a bit and then she just became so overwhelmed and then she laid down on the bed in the opposite direction of me and I was looking at her like, oh my God, like what do I do? She's crying. She's obviously sad. She's distraught. She's all these things and I didn't know what to do because it wasn't shown to me. How do you entreat someone when they are grieving? How do you comfort someone? Can you comfort someone when they're grieving? But just what do you do, right? So I knew I couldn't just leave her there because it felt really cold to just not do anything. So I leaned over and I just hugged her. And that was the most that I felt that I could do for her at the time. But it just shows that grieving is so much disconnected from our society that we're uncomfortable, unknowledgeable. We don't know what to do. Sometimes we don't even know what to do with our own grief, let alone what do we do in the presence of someone else when they're in grief. So I really appreciate this topic. And I just think it's a very important topic for people because you can grieve over many things. And what someone may grieve over, maybe you wouldn't grieve. Maybe you would just be like, okay. But maybe someone else would see it as, wow, this is a great loss for me. And I think it's important for us to recognize each person as an individual and our experiences can be so different, yet we can support each other. And learning these tools, learning what we can do or share for ourselves and for others, I think is very important for us as a society to learn to just make grieving as more acceptable, to make sadness, anger, all these emotions, loss, to make them more acceptable in the sense that, okay, it's okay to feel these things. We are having this human experience, and or this
Self-compassion.
Yes,
One of the
yes.
pillars.
Exactly. Yes. So we are having this experience, and compassion is so much needed. Care of each other's feelings, care of each other's well-being and our own. So anyway, I just think this is an amazing topic, and I'm just grateful to be on here tonight with you, Vilma, and all the things that you've shared with us so far.
Yeah. And thank you for that, Malika. And thank you, Vilma. And Vilma, for the past couple shows that we did two, and we all got back on the air. We had a 3-month time off, and we got back on the air. And the first two shows we did was regarding rape culture. It started one Sunday, and it just kind of extended into the next Sunday. The third Sunday we did self-love, and this is the fourth Sunday we're doing coping and healing, because I think there needs to be some kind of synchronicity. There has to be a flow to this. It has to be taking us somewhere. So given all this information on just what's happening, let's give some options of resolutions or resolves or something for someone who didn't have a clue where to start. Just hearing a message here today will get someone on their way. It surely will.
Yes.
There are so many different types of grief, because sometimes it's like when 9/11 happened. I don't think anyone was expecting all those thousands of people not to come home that day. So that's like a shock. Like it's not like someone is sick and is in hospice and all of that. It's like just like that. No warning. People feel, and when I say that word, no warnings, because that's what society say. Like, we didn't have a warning, so we're going to feel this way. But it's the shock of it. If there's someone now, you already made up your mind that, hey, he or she's ready, try, return to the dust and ascend, then it's a different thing, because your mind go into it already made up. When my grandmother was ready to make her move, And she came to me in many visions, and I already knew I had to fly out and be there to see what my mission and task will be. How can I help you, Granny? What you need? I already knew. I was already crying inside, but I was tough like a rock outside because my cousins and I and siblings really, as her grandchildren, we had to stand firm on her request, what she requested, and she wanted to go. She didn't want resuscitation. She didn't want any of that, and she was deteriorating. So why try to resuscitate? So we fought the battle for her, and of course we won. Because the elders, our aunts and parents, did what they had to do to go down there and put the documents in place. Soon as they did that on that Thursday AM, that Friday, Granny took off like, woohoo! Yeah, she busts out that flesh that is to be returned to the dust, and she was free. She was so free, and she was so beautiful because I can feel it. And she was happy to get through the life of 80 whatever years. And still, we're standing tough as nails, tough as nails, tough as nails. It's when everything was over and I flew back to where I was living at the time. And when I returned, soon, you know, when you fly and go away, you leave on a radio station sometimes just so people can think somebody's at the house. When I walked in that door, you all wouldn't believe the song that was coming on, my dear, and it came on just in time for me to bawl out my item. It was Better Days by Diana Reeves. Came on as soon as I walked in the door, and it started. And I just locked the door, dropped everything, went to the living room, and that was it for me. That was it for me. That's when I got a chance to really release. It was all bottled up inside. Not just then, I couldn't attend not that I couldn't, I wasn't in a position to attend my grandfather's service and stuff, but, you know, I was with the whole family the whole time. I felt all of the energies. And as I know, energies permeate all things. Energies permeate all things. Greetings, Olivia Pope. She said, hi, let me go to the comments so we can read some comments here. Hi, my beautiful Medicare daughter. Hey, fam. Beautiful. Greetings, beautiful queens. That's Olivia Pope. Out of the East Coast, up like way up north. Greetings and thank you for being here. Big up yourself today, right? But I know when people have a loss, they deal with things, because I know people who have a loss and they've been grieving as long as I've known them. They just haven't really had that radical courage to sit down and deal with it and get through the hurt and get through the pain so they can release it. Right. And I just see it in their life. Yes. Loving you, cuz. Thank you. Loving you back.
Yes, all the love from the cousins.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's Olivia. And and there's a lot of things when you're expecting something. I remember my first divorce. My mind was already made up. Like 2 years before the separation happened, I already knew if there wasn't this alignment, like Malika had mentioned a few minutes ago. Sometimes we get in a relationship. As a woman, you want to make sure if you get in a relationship, it's someone who has some kind of stability. Yes. And we're just not saying money, but stability. Someone who, been on a job long time, been where they live in long time, stability. Not bouncing around every month or every year, not moving around jobs every 8 months, 1 year and all that. Someone who really has a stable type of vibe. Yes. Now, I may have chosen them for that because I said, this person will have stability. We can have a family, da-da-da-da. But then I totally left out the most important part. Are we aligned? Right. Are we aligned? Didn't know it then, but I sure know it now. I sure know it now. So, because no one gets together in a union to be divorced or for it not to work. You know, you don't go into it thinking that. So when it's time to, when it's not working, and you go ahead and let everyone be free of the energies, we still have to deal with that. We still feel it, regardless of how prepared we were for it. We still feel it. We still feel like, wow, you know, I thought this was going to be this husband, wife, and children thing. And it just didn't turn out that way that first time around. But even so, even like I'm saying, like in my seat right now I know better moving forward. You have to find alignment. Some people may have great ideas, great things that they're doing in their lives, and they may have had a slump in their life and they just weren't able to pick themselves up. And once that moment comes when you can pick yourself up and just get things back on track as far as your emotions, it's going to feel so light. You're going to feel like a ton of bricks are just lifted off of you. I ain't going to say shoulder, because literally it's like it's just upon you.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavy. And when you get around people, they can feel it if they are connected in that way.
True.
Anyone can feel it once they just elevate their awareness and consciousness to it. But I remember, you know, dealing with grief and how I would deal with it. I tried not to hold on to things too long because I saw what it was doing to me. I literally, you know, you kind of go into a little depression almost. That's when you don't want to answer your phone or talk to anybody. And I literally had like a 2-week where I just didn't want to speak to anyone because I wanted to take that time to really work on releasing. And the journey from there was easier for me. It was easier because one thing about me, I travel very light. So anytime I'm bogged down with anything, I literally feel it, and I feel it in everything that I do, and it's uncomfortable. And I just try to see what can I do to lift myself out of this energy. And I start to work on it. So you have to commit. I do want to say this. I read a message today, and it was just to me. I figure I wanted to say it to you all today, but it says, just remember, when it comes to coping and healing, remember self-love. It's really going to help. Self-love is really going to help. And it's anything that you do, move with love and genuine intentions. You're going to feel happy about that. You really feel happy when you're doing something that's genuine and when you're moving with love. So when you see you feeling all and all of that, and some people you don't even see it. They feel it, you can feel it, but it's not in their appearance. They don't show you on the outside.
Right.
A lot of times that happens. So just continue to remind yourself and others that you are love, and you move with love, move with genuine intentions in your life. And it's really gonna now start to just fill some areas, move out whatever needs to be moved out, and fill it with that love. That's self-love. And that's all you're going to be able to illuminate after a while, because you'll be so filled with it. Your cup will run it over. You don't know? Right? So I figure that's a real winning attitude. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a 5-minute and Malika, let's go through the pillars.
Okay. I remember a few of them: radical courage, determination, and
Olivia Pope said, I love that talk. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much for being here with us. I have them. But you go ahead. The ones that the few that you can remember, let's review them a little bit.
yes, radical courage, determination, and compassion, I think she said one of them.
Compassion. So, discipline. Okay. I have it here. Radical courage.
Yes.
Self-discipline. Integrity. Self-compassion. And self-accountability.
Oh, okay, right. Accountability.
And of course, self-love.
Yes, that one too.
Those are pillars that someone shared with us that they adopted and put together so that they can work through their journey. And as Vilma had mentioned earlier, that metaphysics, because that's, some people need that energy, and that's the way she found that energy.
Mhm.
So Malika, let me see. Let's do a 3 minute, and we're going to go back to Vilma and give Vilma that 5 minute slot there.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let me just talk about radical courage. So you want me to speak on the pillars a little bit?
Yeah, like
Okay.
choose one and break it down for that audience.
Okay, so let me go into radical courage. Now,
Um,
how I see radical courage is it's radical because you are going to look into yourself in a way that you have not looked into yourself. And you are going to basically take yourself by the hand, and you are going to face all the obstacles. You are going to walk your walk, and you are going to talk your talk to allow yourself to heal, to allow yourself to acknowledge everything that you're feeling, everything that you're going through. You don't have to hide it. And allowing yourself to do that thing, grieving out loud,
Right.
basically, like not hiding that. And that does take courage because it is basically going in the face of society, how we've all been conditioned basically to grieve, how we've been conditioned to act and think and say. So, radical courage, is just not caring what anybody else thinks, feels, or says about the way that you process your grief, the way that grief shows up in your body, the way it shows up in your life, how you decide for it to move through you so that you can continue to be yourself. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah.
be radical in your
Very
courage.
good pillar. I grasped to that right away because we're always working within ourselves. I'm not going to say on ourselves, I'm going to say within ourselves because
Mhm.
it's very intimate and personal. So within ourselves, and I grabbed that the other day. That's the first one I grabbed. I see, because I have to get past some things that I've been thinking about, and I said, you know what? Let me just sit down and deal with this and get past it. So for the past, I would say last week, I took maybe 36 hours, a day and a half. And I did some meditation and things of that nature to kind of start to clear out some things that I feel that are necessary. Also, Vilma was speaking about breathing. Remember, Malika, she spoke about breathing and you touched on it as well. Remember when Doc Digler was on here with us?
Yes.
Yeah, he's, Buddhist, Brick City Buddha. That's Doc Digler from up in Jersey, meditation master. And he spoke a lot about breathing. So if you all want to go back to the show that we did, is on I Am Meta on the Powerhouse Radio, and it was about just meditation and the breathing and the breath and all that. And it was very good information. Use it. It will help in every aspect, I think, because with meditation comes breathing. It's like breath of life. It's you just have to learn how to allow it to flow instead of we just have to let it be a flow. You can
Yes.
feel it more when it's like that. So Vilma, give us a 3 minutes, my sister. You can take it off of mute. Yeah, give us a 3 minute and let us give the audience something that they can take away from today's show from you. What is it that you would like to tell them as far as coping and healing?
just give yourself permission to grieve. Don't let anyone tell you how long or how short you should grieve, and never let anyone tell you how to grieve. The thing is that not that you're going to pay any attention to what you're saying. you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to second that with Vilma.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people try to
Not
say, you're
that
not
you're
over
going to give
that yet.
yourself,
It's even,
you're going to pay any attention to what they're saying, because the
yeah,
grieving process is so natural that it's going to
yeah,
flow. Even
yeah,
if they're
yeah,
trying to tell you how or what or what, you're going to go with what's coming out of you,
yeah,
because you have to let it out, you
yeah.
know.
Well,
Also, just remember that you're alive and life is a gift, and you just want to live it the best way you can. Start loving yourself, because a lot of time the guilt that we get from grieving is because we're giving others so much of ourselves and we're not giving enough to ourselves.
those, yeah,
So we
man.
have to tap into that self-love and say, look, I'm sorry for what happened, but I still have to live.
Yes.
You know,
I'm gonna read down a list of things that
and
I
pretty
jotted
much
down today.
that's what it all boils down to. Start loving you more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Vilma. I'm going to go down just a brief list of things, because when you're healing and trying to cope with things, we have obstacles that come up when we're putting energy and attention to certain things. So I'm just going to go down a few. If you're having trust issues, whether it's with your business partner, your job, your partner at the house, your roommate, whoever, your friends, your family, if you're having trust issues, that's going to be an obstacle. And just know that that's going to be one of the layers you're going to have to deal with. Okay. Another layer is going to be negative attitude. It's going to be an obstacle. If you're already, trying to cope with something, trying to heal from something, you can't walk around with all this negativity. How are you supposed to heal with negativity? So let us pay attention to the attitude, because it will be an obstacle. It will hinder your process. The next thing, emotionally unstable. Emotions does not mean love. Love is energy. Emotions are something that's connected to our human faculties. So when we start thinking about things and give it a definition, right, we're going to feel it in a certain way, right? So let us get our emotions under control. Let us make sure we're not walking around with anger and all this animosity and malice and these things. And don't be mad at anybody. Just try to heal. Just don't be hurt. If you feel somebody did you wrong, you know what? You have to move forward from there. You have to move forward from there. If they've already done it, find some self-forgiveness or something, let it go. Spiritual unstableness as well is another obstacle. Unsound decisions means you're not using your discernment. So unsound decisions is going to be an obstacle. When you're unappreciative, you're not grateful for anything. You don't have gratitude, right? There's a law about that too, a universal law, gratitude. If you don't have that, that's going to be an obstacle. Also, you can't know it all mentally. I don't care how many degrees you have, it doesn't mean you're wise. And not because you know a lot means that you have a degree. Because some people think, oh, this person's so intelligent, and where college did you go to? Well, not because they're intelligent and know something means they have a degree. All right. So, but just to, you can't walk around thinking you know it all. It just means that you're no longer willing to learn. And how can you heal? How can you cope? How can you grow if you're not willing to learn? Right. Also, you can't be cold-hearted. You can't be out here cold-hearted and sinister and mean and whatless and wicked and evil. Those are obstacles. So pay attention to the energies and how you're sending them. And most of all, one of the biggest obstacles, self-pity. You're going to stay wallowing in that mud pit forever until you decide to get out of it. You can't wallow in self-pity, because there are people around you who's not going to give you that self-pity, and you're going to have a problem with those people because they're not going to pity you. And you're going to love the ones that's pitying you because you want to feel that energy. And you're not going to get that, Yeah. But I do want to say this. For friends and family, especially if any one of us know you, I personally will not tell you how to grieve or how long it's going to take, whatever. But if I see you not getting out of your bed 3-4 days, you're not opening your drapes, I'm calling you, and I'm coming to your house and I'm going to make sure you're okay. I'm checking on you. So you better know, say, I'm one of them goddess sisters,
Yes.
If I'm not getting in touch with you, I'm going to come and see what's going on with you. I am going to do that. I don't mean to invade in your privacy, but I will do it. I will go ahead and, check some stuff out. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and close it out today. Man, I wish we could have just stayed with you a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up tonight. Just remember, view the videos, give us a subscribe, put on the notification button so you know anytime a show come on, and you can pick, choose, and refuse. I mean, we'd like if you support all of us, but we know everybody, might have the little busy schedule and thing, right? But on Sunday at 6, check with a man. Make sure you check with.
Yes.
I am Meta Zephra, medical daughter. I'm Malika, a breath of fresh air. Thank you, life coach Vilma, for being here.
Thank
Olivia
you.
posted my quiz. Very informative, helpful, love it. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you, Olivia.
For being here today.
Great day, beautiful beings. Be well.
Namaste.
Thank you, Olivia. Great day, beautiful beings. Be well.